Welcome to the Nourish Spot Hour. We're live in the studio, Jade. I got my daughter with me. I'm so happy today. This is the Nourish Spot Hour on Caribbean Buzz Radio. I'm really happy today to have my COO, my chief. What does that mean? I don't even know. Chief Operating Officer. Yeah, that's what it is, because I'm the Chief Executive Officer of the Nourish Spot here with me today in the studio. And many of you know my daughter, she actually moved some months ago, right? It's probably like 2 months ago, I think. In February. We took a 20-hour drive, no joke, from Jamaica all the way to New Orleans, she and I, to get her settled in her new place. But you know, it doesn't matter that she lives, I don't know, what's that, a million miles away? I don't know, it doesn't matter, because we still work hand in hand together on the Nourish Spot. But before we talk about that, I'm gonna roll it back a little bit, Jade, and ask you to talk about, why you chose food as your vocation, because I don't know if everyone knows, but my daughter is a chef by vocation. She left home actually to go to one university and ended up at another university. But all is good, because as a result of her going to Johnson & Wales University, she's now a chef. So I'm really happy to have her here to talk about her entrepreneurial visions and, the things that she is interested in. So with that, we're gonna get started. So hey Jade, welcome to your mama's podcast. What do you think?
Hey everyone. I guess we can start with the first school.
Yeah.
So I originally graduated high school and then decided, hey, it's time to go to college. So my mom had graduated from Howard University, and we had did I think it was convocation 1 year during my senior year, and the campus was dope, the field was dope, so, and it was a different experience because most of the schooling that I had been a part of, I was the minority, so it was different to go to a school where we would be the majority, so I look forward to it, but, yeah, I got there and it was, no. Oh man. Oh my goodness. It was I was so used to competing amongst everyone else. So it was always hey, that's that's the smartest girl in the class, and she's black. She's the only black one in there. I was always trying not to be a stereotype when it came to the classroom setting, that it was just now when I got to Howard and it's just wait, I'm competing against myself and everyone that looks like me. It just wasn't the same. Education used to be I don't know, it was a competition for me. I enjoyed being the smartest person in the room amongst all my peers. I enjoyed them coming to me and asking me questions instead of going to the teacher or stuff like that. But then when it got to that, it was just okay, this is not fun anymore. And it wasn't. And then, I don't know, and it's about the whole college curriculum, they're reteaching you stuff that you already learned, so it's just I get it, but this stuff is pointless, I don't need it, but hey, do what you gotta do. But yeah, I was miserable, so I ended up staying in Howard for, I think, it was a total of 4 years. I got kicked out twice. Literally failed
Honesty
out
is
once.
the best policy. Honesty is the best policy.
I'm telling you, I was miserable. I would not, eventually got to the point that I would just not go to class. I don't know, I just hated it.
You wanted out?
And then also on top of that, I was working a full-time job. Well, it was a full-time government job at the time. And I was 19, making about $30,000 at the time.
That's another thing we're going to talk about, how many jobs you had.
Oh man, and working for the government, regardless of it, it's a full-time commitment to them. They don't care whether or not you have outside responsibilities. To them, this is your life. And so it was hard trying to be a college student, trying to have fun, and then trying to get up to be to work at 5 o'clock in the morning. Well, I had to be up earlier than that.
And what was his job?
We're not going to discuss it.
Yeah, she was a TSA. So, okay. TSA.
I said I wasn't gonna discuss it, but okay. But yeah, so I don't know, the whole experience, like I enjoyed like the party culture, and I enjoyed the outside culture of going to an all black school, but as far as like actually going to like classroom and learning, it didn't work for me. Like I changed my major thinking that maybe I just needed something different, and yeah, it wasn't it. So I decided, and I think the last semester before I left, which was when my graduating class would have been graduating, me and my mother had a discussion, I want to say like over Christmas break, and it was basically about, because she was financing 90% of my schooling, I think like FAFSA was coming in to take off a little bit, but for the most part she was financing it, and she was just like, listen, your grades are horrible, and this is what my money is going to, and I'm paying like $10,000 a semester. Well, there was no violence, good one, but she was like, I'm paying, $10,000 a semester for you to go to school, and this is what you're doing with it, so you need to figure out long and hard, is this really something that you want to do, because I'm wasting money. That's basically what it seems like. I'm just throwing money out because you're failing classes. Then that means that you have to pay again for you to retake them. Like, no, this is not what we're gonna do. So then I thought about it, and sure enough, like one day I just started thinking about like all the stuff that I actually enjoy doing, that I wouldn't mind learning. And I don't know, there was always the quote that I heard growing up, that if you do what you love, you'll never work a day in your life. So I started really thinking about like, what do I love to do? Like no matter what I'm feeling, when I'm doing something, it will make like, it changes my mood or it makes me happy. And it always came down to like cooking. And so at first I was like, why would I do this? But I started looking up, and sure enough, there are multiple schools that have culinary majors that will give you an actual degree, not like just a certificate, but you can get your associates or you can get your bachelor's with, a dual program. So then I finally realized like, hey, I'm transferring schools. And that conversation was not well.
Well,
Somebody
can I jump in for 1 second?
No, you can't. Thanks. So, when I finally came to the conclusion, I'm leaving, I'm transferring, she was not happy about it. She was telling me that I need to stay, and I need to finish what I started, where I started. And I'm like, ma'am, what you're not getting is, I'm gonna finish what I started, I'm just not finishing at the said location in which I started it at. The degree will come, it's just not gonna happen there. One, because I'm miserable, you're paying, and now that means that I have to only, make grades. I'm doing it for me as well as for you, because you're backing it financially. And so I'm like, yeah, no. Because then it's just going to be like, I'm going to end up resenting the fact that I'm only here because of the fact that my mom is paying, but I don't even want to be here. But she's kind of like forcing me to stay. So I was like, no, all right, fine. You don't want to talk to me because I'm leaving? Then fine, don't talk to me. I'll figure it out. And so, so I ended up transferring, and I applied on my own. I did basically everything on my own for that. Like, I had to figure out how to apply to this new school as a transfer student, how to figure out financial aid. And at this time, the government makes you put your parents' information down for financial aid. And at this time, my mother wasn't speaking to me. So there was no way that I can go about that. So then I had to make up this whole, well, it wasn't really made up at the time. We really weren't talking. But go through this whole process of trying to convince the government that it was basically just based my financial, what I can, my FAFSA on my money and my money only, because my mother at the time, we were not talking. So it was like, I can't get her information regardless, so hey, figure something else out. So sure enough, I ended up being able to get my FAFSA, and it just so happened that my best friend at the time was graduating from a school in Charlotte where my new school would be. So me and my best friend Jade, we rolled down to Charlotte. We did my other best friend's graduation, and me and Jade was touring around places to look for places to stay, in apartments for me. And sure enough, I did a whole tour, found my apartment in this weekend trip. Found my apartment, did an orientation at school, and basically did everything. Like I was ready. No, she's over here. I was ready to go, and I don't know, and I had to get a guarantor. That was the funny thing. So I had to get a guarantor, and so I had to call my mother for this one. So I'm like calling her and telling her, hey, I need a guarantor. I found a place to stay. And she was just like, well, you're gonna have to figure it, like, I'll do it, but you'll have to figure this out. Like, this is all you get. This is all the help you get. And sure enough, she finally signed it. I had packed up my apartment in Maryland, hit the road, did my 7 hours driving to Charlotte, unpacked my car, and had an interview the same day. So I literally like got most of the stuff out of my car, took a shower, changed my clothes, went to my job interview, ended up getting the job, and then went home, unpacked. So literally I had moved in, found a job, all within literally like 12 hours. And then, you know, I found another job. So then during the summer, like I was working 2 jobs since school hadn't started yet. And then once school started, my first semester, I ended up with a 4.0 GPA. I ended up with an internship at Walt Disney World. I ended up with a new job as a resident assistant on campus. So now I'm ended up getting a scholarship, so less money that I had to work on paying. Like I was doing my thing.
So you said a lot of things, but one, I want to say this. Initially, when Jade was choosing colleges, we had talked about the fact that although I was an alum of Howard University, I thought that she would excel better at a school where she could focus on cooking.
I don't recall.
Of course she'll say that, but I did.
I just remember that I couldn't apply to Hampton. That was what I remember.
And so ultimately, I'm very proud of you that you were able to turn around the situation from those years at Howard and actually walk away from Johnson & Wales with a degree. I'm also very proud of you, the work that you did. So let's talk about the work that you did once you knew you were about to graduate from Johnson & Wales and that phone call you made to me about what was next.
Oh, so at the time I was, after my first internship with Walt Disney, if you if you do a good job, they'll actually welcome you back to come back to work during any semester that you're open to work. So it was summertime, and I'm like, do I really want to spend summer in Charlotte or spend summer in New York, or do I just want to go to Disney and work at Disney for the summer and get to go to Disney during the summer on my days off? It was a no-brainer. So I ended up going to Disney, and I was working at Cinderella's Royal Table, and I don't remember exactly the conversation that I had or who I had the conversation with, but I started looking into means to travel and cook. And so I started looking into jobs basically where I can travel, get paid to travel and cook at the same time. So I started applying to a lot of hotel internships across the country, across the world, and I also started applying to cruise ships. So I was just applying thinking, all right, we'll see what happens. Seriously, I was like, what's the worst that can happen? They're either going to tell me no, or they're going to be like, sure. So sure enough, I want to say it was July, probably like July 4th, July 9th, probably somewhere in there. I was sitting in lunch in one of the little cafeterias that we have in Disney, and my phone rings from some number that's like not American, so it's like +33 something, yeah, some random number. And this is before scam likely was a thing. So so of course I'm sitting here like, first of all, I'm not gonna answer that because one, who's calling me, and two, that doesn't even look like an American number. But anyway, I answered the phone. I don't know why, but I answered the phone, and it was a lady. She was calling me from this company, from Monaco. And she's like, hi, I was calling, you put an application to work on this cruise ship, and I was calling just to see if you were still interested, and to go over like what you need, and if you have what you need, and if you do, then we can schedule an interview for the next steps. So I'm like, this probably is not real, but sure, let's go over it. And so she went over the qualifications. She asked me, what school I was going to, if I'm doing like an actual culinary program, if it was credited, how old I was, if I have a passport. If I have a passport, all the stuff that you would need. And so I'm like, yes, I have all that, and I can prove and, make sure that I have no criminal history, all of that. So I'm like, okay, this may be serious. So I'm like, yeah, I have all this. So she's like, okay, perfect. Let's schedule an interview. So she scheduled an interview. I want to say it was like 7 o'clock my time the next day.
And how was this interview conducted?
It was over Skype.
Yeah.
So I literally was like, first of all, it's my day off. I work at Disney. We work 12-hour days every day. I literally was working in Cinderella's royal table, and we would be up. I had to be at work, I think, at like 6:30 in the morning. And most of the time I would stay for overtime. So I wasn't getting home until like 8 o'clock. So now I have to get up early. Okay, so I got up early, had my computer set up. I'm dressing in my interview form from like neck up. Literally have like on a nice button-up shirt and pajama pants. And we're having this interview, and she's basically just asking me like all these culinary questions, which was good. She was asking me like, about mother sauces and about, if you're in the weeds, what happens, and how do you, help your fellow coworkers, and all the stuff that you basically should know if you really are taking culinary seriously. And so she was like, all right, well, when the interview concluded, she was just like, all right, well, 9 out of 10, the ship that you will be leaving on will be on, I forgot the ship's name, but she was like, you'll be leaving in October. We're gonna have to fly you to Turkey to Istanbul to meet your plane, and you will join your plane, and you will do a 6 months contract. And I was just sitting there listening to her like, huh? They're flying me where? That's the part that caught me. What? Istanbul?
And then when you told me, your mother.
And so then, once I got all my paperwork and I confirmed it, now I really have to sit here and figure it like, I still had a year and a half left of school to do for my bachelor's. So I'm like, what am I gonna do? Like, how's this gonna work? And sure enough, finally made the phone call like, hey, yeah, so I'm gonna be leaving to go work on a cruise. It was just like that. It was just like, at this point I stopped asking permission because no. I was just like, hey, yeah, so this is the stuff that I need to get done. I need to leave. I have to get everything ready by this date because I need to be packed up and ready to go on this cruise. So she's like, I'm sorry, wait, what? You're going where? You're doing what?
And how are you interviewing? Who are these people?
Yeah, so asking all these questions, and luckily I was able to answer, I think, all of them.
Everyone.
That's good. And so literally after that, I tried to finish out my program. Oh, actually no, I wasn't able to finish out my program because the date was way earlier than October. The original date was supposed to be earlier. I want to say somewhere between August, I think, was the original date. So I'm like, I have all my stuff in Charlotte that I still need. They're waiting for me to come back to it. So I'm like, I have to pack up my stuff here at Disney, drive to Charlotte, pack up my stuff in Charlotte, drive to New York to get all of my stuff to New York because I'm gonna end up leaving my car in New York while I'm gone for 6 months. So literally, this was all happening. So I left Orlando, I want to say probably really early in the morning. I got to Charlotte about 1 o'clock, wow. maybe 12, 1 o'clock in the afternoon. Packed up my entire room in Charlotte, and now I was an RA, so I had a whole, basically big room to myself that I used the time to fill. So it was it was so much stuff. And then I was like a huge sneaker collection, so I ended up just throwing a lot of stuff out because I was like, I have no room in my car. I'm not going to pick up anything else. All I have is basically my last paycheck right now. And I have to make it to New York. So I packed up my car. I want to say I finished packing up my car by maybe 4 p.m. And I was back on the road by 4 p.m., all within the same day. So I didn't go straight to New York because that's a 9-hour drive. I ended up stopping in D.C. and hanging out at my father's house for a week before I got to New York. So hung at my father's house for a week. I think No, my brother didn't come down. We ended up just staying there for the week, and then I drove finally back up to New York where I unpacked it. And so now I'm in New York for a couple of weeks because I have to find something to do between the time of going on this cruise and staying here. So I ended up finding another job to work for like in the interim, and then they called me and told me that my contract will be delayed, and so then I wouldn't be leaving out until October. So I ended up leaving in October. I ended up having to meet my ship in Boston instead of Istanbul, which is great. That was a 40, and that would probably be my longest flight at the time. So.
But where did you go? So tell us now, because
can I get there?
Our new guest is here. We have to bring her in.
I'm sorry.
Right.
I'm sorry. So then we get to Boston. I met my ship in Boston. So it was a 6-month contract. And we started in Boston. We went we went through Canada. We went to Montreal and Quebec and Toronto. Did we stop in Toronto? I don't think we stopped in Toronto. But Montreal, Quebec. Then we came down. We did all the Caribbean multiple times. We hit Brazil. We hit Colombia. We hit Papua New Guinea, not Papua New Guinea, Guyana. We hit a lot of places within there. Then we ended up going to the west. We stopped in LA for a day, and then we were gone. So we were in Tahiti, we were in Australia, we were in China, Hong Kong, Thailand, Malaysia, Vietnam.
Did you go to Africa too?
I'm trying to get there. The Seychelles, the Maldives, Nigeria, Tanzania, Mozambique, and then I finally finished in South Africa, Cape Town, South Africa, where my mom had flew down, met me in Cape Town, South Africa, and we stayed in Cape Town for a week, and then they flew me back to New York. So I didn't have to pay for any of those flights, which was wonderful. I ended up racking up some flight miles from that too, which was also wonderful. But yeah, due to that, I mean, it helped me. It started the journey of seeing the world, and it just still continues to this day. So.
And so that's why the Nourish Spot really, I believe, also had kind of a head start, if you will, in the marketplace, because we had the benefit of Jade's experience as a chef and working with a variety of different foodstuffs and flavors and spices from all over the world. And, you know, I've not talked about my career as much, but I've also traveled. So we're able to marry some of the cuisine that we have experienced around the world at the Nourish Spot. And with that, I want to welcome our guest to the Nourish Spot Hour here on Caribbean Buzz Radio. We had Georgie Ann Getton-McKoy join us while we were speaking with Jade, and we're happy to have her here with us. Thank you very much. I'm glad traffic didn't keep you away from us.
Thank you for having me.
Oh, we were worried, and we already told the audience about your book and its extra title, The Art of Getting Shit Done.
Just in case children are watching.
So Georgie Ann, I was kind of intrigued by your bio. You called yourself a serial entrepreneur. Mm-hmm. You called yourself a digital tech enthusiast, as well as an author. So what I told my daughter when she asked me who else was going to be on the show, I said, we're going to have an author, but she has a couple of other things she does. So I'm just going to ask her point blank, what do you do, Georgie Ann?
I do too many things. That's the answer to that. So I have my book, The Art of Getting Ish Done, so we could keep it censored.
It's okay.
And I published it this year in February.
Congratulations. Yay, congratulations.
Thank you. It's been doing good so far, getting different exposures, different opportunities, which is amazing. I launched a podcast this year.
Oh, good. Congratulations. Yes.
Yeah, so again,
we all out here doing stuff, right?
Too many things.
Yes.
I am a serial entrepreneur, so I've had many companies, but right now the main focus is on my branding agency. So that's like a digital agency where I do like graphic design and help people create like a brand for their products or services. And helping them, we used to do marketing, but I separated marketing from it because a lot of people didn't really hone in on their brand, right? Your brand is that organic stuff that keeps people coming back to you, keeps people in love with you, and they'll, you know, recommend it all the time. Exactly, like the deeper story, like the story that she was sharing, that's gonna make people say, wow, she has all that experience. I wanna be a part of that company, because there's many everythings. There's so many different bread companies, juice companies, social media, everything. There's so many everything, and it's like, why is somebody gonna come to you?
Exactly.
So that's why I decided to focus specifically on branding and how your story and your journey ties into the company that you have.
And how long have you been doing this?
Branding and marketing and stuff, I've been doing that for like 4 or 5 years. So I started back literally in high school, actually. My last year of high school, I actually before that, but mainly in the last year of high school, I became a teen mom. So, and we didn't have like, you know, regular lower middle class income family, so there was no college fund set up for me. There was no like a bunch of savings to the side, so I had to figure out, okay, how am I gonna get to prom? And that included side hustle after side hustle, you know, designing the class shirts, selling after prom tickets, you know,
being industrious.
Exactly.
That's right.
Figuring it out, like, okay, this is what I need to get done. These are the resources that I have. Limited time, practically no money. How can I make it happen, right? So that's just been my experience. You know, I do operations for my husband's moving company, which is has been growing a lot. So that's really exciting, and just employing people is really like
it's challenging.
It's very pressuring.
It's challenging. You gotta come and check. You know, listen, we know because, you know, at the Nourish Spot, we actually now have employees too. When we first started, it was just Jade and I and my son Owen. It was just us three. And now business is thriving, so we're able to have staff. We still have less than 10 people, but we understand what you're talking about in terms of the challenges that comes with staffing.
Especially people depending on you, like they're depending on you now for their livelihood. It could be a lot of pressure because it's like, damn, I don't want to mess up nobody else's life. Like, please, they need it.
Right, and also, you know, the other part of it is, while they're depending on us, you know, we also depend on them too. So just the whole recruiting part, you know, and training part,
and then finding people that you know it's not gonna be their passion, it's not gonna be as strong as yours, but finding people that when they come to work, it's not just to show up for the check, and they actually want to be there. So that was like a really tedious part of my like recruiting experience. Because at first, you know, I was trying to hire a lot of people in my circle, because but that's the thing. Like I realized, you know, I have fired some family members, and it's not, you know, it's all love still, but I had to. I'm like, listen, when it's work mode, Georgie, it's business.
Yeah,
like,
it's not personal, right?
It's not personal. Right. I love you, but you ain't doing. You're not up to speed right now. I love you,
right?
But it's not it. This ain't they don't want to take constructive criticism, so it's personal, and it's like, listen, you got to realize at the end of the day, this is my money on the line. Like, it's one thing if you were like a business owner, part of it. You're not, so you're just reaping the benefits of it. I need people that I can depend on, and I get it. We're cool outside of this, but you're using that to be like, oh, she's fine. We're cool. She's fine. I could be late. No, bro, you can't be late.
We ain't cool like
and late later after the fact. Like, we going out, cool, you late, but not when it's time to work and I'm dependent on this operation to run in a timely fashion.
Exactly.
I need you there when you say you
Exactly. So tell us about this book. Let me see.
So
wait, is there one with my name on it?
I'll sign.
Look at this is the book. It's called The Art of Getting Ish Done. Okay.
Sugar honey iced tea.
Yeah, sugar honey. That's perfect. The Art of Getting Sugar Honey Iced Tea Done. Okay. So now, I don't know if this is not a good question to ask, but I have to ask you this, okay? Because you're an author. How old are you?
I am 24.
Wow.
Okay, so I was
Okay. How old are you?
I'm 28.
Okay, I'm surrounded by the millennials right now. I'm really proud.
Oh, thank you.
Okay, I'm really proud. No, seriously. Did you hear those places she said she
I was taking a like I gotta go to check.
Yeah, look, it used to be in our house, because I want to say this to you. I was a single mom too. Oh, I did have 2 kids with a husband, but then it didn't work, so I was forced to take my kids and raise them on my own. So I'm going to tell you, you're lucky you got your husband now. Congratulations to you. And listen, proud of you, because you will get it done, okay? God takes care of the women that take care of their babies. Oh, yes, he does. Okay? So I'm proud of you. Now, tell us, what made you do this? Like, where'd you get the inspiration from? Courage. Where'd you get the courage from?
Right. So I've always, so I like to talk. People know me. They're like, oh, Georgie talks a lot. But when it comes to like the really hard topics and the serious ones, you're going to find me sending you a letter. I'm going to write you a note. I'm going to send you a big ass text. So
that's turning my phone off because I don't want to read the response right away. Yes.
So I'm going to pour, like when it's serious, you will see a letter from me, literally notes. And so that's where I always got the tough topics out. And so I've been a writer for forever, for almost as long as I can ever remember. And I wanted to tell my story about my journey as an entrepreneur, as a young mom, as a person of color, as, a Caribbean immigrant coming to me. So there were just so many different aspects of my life that I was split into so many, whenever I was in like different rooms and in different groups, it felt a little out of place and just like a little misunderstood. And I'm just like, I want people to be able to understand me and then other people that are similar to me. So after I did a summit in 2016 called the Get Shit Done Summit, everything is, because my community name is Getton, so it's like everything is Getton.
Yeah, that's
so
that's dope.
After the summit, I was like, I had so many people there sharing their stories. I got a chance to share my story too, but I want to dive deeper. I want people to know really what's behind this. The people are like, George, you're always doing it. How do you get it done? How do you make it work? And some people have some misconceptions that I had all this access and opportunity and money. I was like, first of all, I'm broke.
First of all, I'm broke.
First of all, I'm broke. Let's get that straight. I can't loan nothing.
I got a choice. See now, the sage older lady has to say something. You are not broke. Stop.
No.
Okay, listen. Wait. I want you both to stop using that word.
No.
Let me tell you something.
No.
This is what I say. Just say that your cash flow is low. You're not broke. Everything on you works. Everything on you works.
Bills, responsibility, obligation.
Oh, okay. I like
electric
that.
bill.
I'm broke.
Okay, wait. Say it again.
Bills, responsibility, obligation, kids, and electricity bill.
Did you all hear that? That is the millennial definition of broke.
No, but that's dope. Because I keep saying I literally have started writing a story about my life as well, because not in the sense of it's been a lot of hardship, but people don't believe me when I tell them hey, yeah, I'm 28 and I've worked 28 jobs in my life.
Yes. Yes. Okay. So wait. This is perfect. So that's a good question. Wait. Okay. So wait. First, I want you to tell people, how do they get your book if they want to get a copy of it?
So you can either buy it on Amazon. They have free, if you have Prime, free 2-day shipping. But I have some copies on hand now. So if you go to ofgsd.com and order a copy there, I'll do 2-day shipping. So I have a bunch of copies because I was supposed to go to California for an event, but I got sick. So I have 50, 60 copies at home.
Okay.
So I'm doing autographed copies. If people want to buy directly from me, they can go to artofgsd.com or you can get it on Amazon. That's where a good amount of people purchase it.
Well, I want to.
Wait.
Go ahead, sorry.
How long did it take you to actually sit down and write out your book? Did you have to literally lock yourself in a room? Because that's my issue now. It's I got one chapter. I literally wrote a chapter. The first chapter I wrote it.
It was good too. I want you to let me read it.
I sent it to a couple of people. I sent it to my mom, and then I also had researched publishers, and I sent it to publishers because I was just interested. Is this something that they would buy? Because either they're gonna tell you hey, I don't like what you sent. Don't do this, or hey, what you wrote so far was really good, and continue, and I'll write it. And sure enough, people were actually publishers were sending me letters back hey, I want to see the full manuscript when you finish. But it's now it's just and it's funny because the title of my book is The Autobiography of a Girl Who Will Never Get Her Shit Together.
So this is perfect.
I'm telling you.
Yes.
I'm telling you. And so like it really is, but now my issue is trying to figure out focusing. And did you have to like lock yourself down and say, hey, I'm gonna get this book done, or did you like give yourself, hey, 500 words a day? Or...
Yeah, what's your process?
Yeah, it was, I actually have a blog post on this, and I think I'm gonna do a video series for people not trying to read like super long blog posts. I'm gonna do like snippets of it because a lot of people have been asking.
Mm-hmm.
So again, I started literally the day after the summit back in 2016, and it was just bits and pieces. So it was on Post-it notes, it was on, I like to write in notebooks. I don't like typing on the computer. When I'm like really writing, I'm gonna write it out in pencil or pen first. So I did that for the first like year and a half, and then last year in 2018, I said, you know what, I'm gonna get it done this year.
Okay.
So I created like the whole entire outline. I mapped out all the experiences that I wanted to talk about. So it wasn't really together, but I just had all the components. And then, you know, I realized that my writing style was like writing it out. So I found somebody that could type up what I wrote out.
Okay.
So that way I could just flush it out.
Right.
Yeah, exactly. So
and
she
long
typed it
hand.
up.
Okay, perfect.
And then I started working with this writing coach just to kind of have her kick my butt, like, Georgie, is it done yet? Georgie, is it done yet? And it was helpful because now I'm just like, you know, she's
on you.
On me.
Yeah.
Because I realized I get stuff done, but I also get nervous. So it's like when people are expecting it, or just, I don't know, I get nervous, and it's just like I have to figure out, okay, how can I either purposely kick my own butt or get somebody like, you're responsible for yelling at me if I don't get anything. So that was like part of the experience. And she told me about this platform called Publishizer that you could, it's like crowdfunding but for your book. So publishers could be interested in your book and like say, I'm gonna publish it, and also people could do pre-orders. So I got like 60 pre-orders through Publishizer, and I was about almost done. It was like about a month before we released it. So the Publishizer ran from December to January, and then the book was published in February. So I already had like 65 people saying, yes, I want this book.
Wow.
So that really helped me to finalize it and just, you know, get it done. But I would say mapping out I would say the biggest part that helped me the most was just saying, okay, what are all the things I want to talk about in this book, the outline, and then I had to literally scan my brain, like getting timelines, and thank God I like writing journals and blogs to have the stuff I couldn't even remember.
That's like, I mean, for the most part, which is luckily what you've said so far. As I'm going through my own list, I'm like, okay, I got most of that check. Like, I know the outline as far as like how, so far what I was doing during like the big important steps of life. So I literally have from like elementary school, junior high school, college, and then college again, part 2. Literally, that's how like the chapters are in my book. So I have like the timelines, and for the most part, I have like the big important stories in there. It's just taking the time to literally write them down. And I'm a typer.
It's about the move, right?
Where did you get the time? Because you said you said that you're helping your husband with his trucking business. You have children or child. 2. Okay, children. Okay, all right. And then you out here as a serial entrepreneur and business strategist, and you still didn't tell us about the digital tech enthusiast part. Tell us, I mean, did you decide you're going to wake up at 4 o'clock in the morning, you're going to write from 4 to 6, or you're going to stay up and write from 1 to 2? I mean, like, what?
I got 2 children. I cannot wake up at 4 o'clock. But what I did was I honored the moments, right? Okay. So again, I like to write in my notebook. So I always have my notebook / my journal with me. And if I'm on the train, if I'm going somewhere and it just feels like I want to write something, I pulled it out and just started writing. Okay. If I'm at home and because I knew it was important, I like pretty much put it high on my priorities list. So it's just like if I got a feeling for it, no matter what I had to do that day, and if I just got into the flow of it, everything else was canceled. Okay. Because what I realized is when I did set the scheduled times, I would procrastinate my life away. Okay.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie, I agree with that. It's like when I have the writing spirit,
take it.
Yeah,
go with it.
And I'm usually like I like to type on the computer. I don't know, something about my nails hitting the keys that it just
whatever is your inspiration.
It does it for me. So I'm always like typing on my computer, like, and I literally will just be typing away. And of course, after the fact, I'll read it and compile it and put it where it is. But I don't know. Like, that's my thing, is just sitting down now. It's like, because I have all the stories. Like, if I could literally just dictate it, which I'm pretty sure there's someone that I can literally just say,
Yeah, ghostwriter.
They have,
but they cost money, right? They cost
and
money.
it's like, okay, spend money. I don't know. I've been in this whole thing. Why spend money when you can do it yourself? Like, hey, I do my hair myself. I do it.
Okay, here we go.
I'm about to hit you with this.
Right, and then
I'm working on a
say,
blog post right now about it. It's called DIY versus DFY. So DIY, do it yourself, versus done for you.
okay.
And it's really about, you know, calculating not how much time or effort it takes, but what else could you be doing with that time or effort. So for example, I could have definitely, you know, typed it up after I wrote it out, but I knew that would then consume me. I would be overthinking about it. So I didn't even read the book until it was fully done. So I just wrote it out, scanned the pages, emailed it to the girl, she typed it up, then I had my editor read it over. So I didn't even read the book until it was like this.
Okay.
So it was just like, because I could have learned how to do editing, I was like, no. I want to write the book. That's the part I want to get it out.
Okay.
Exactly.
Right. Okay.
So just really.
And say it again. You giving us some good ones today.
DIY
versus DFY, and
do it yourself.
Do it yourself versus do for you.
Like done for you.
Done
so like,
for you. Okay.
And then that's a lot of
you
how
chock
I get.
full of good ones today.
Okay. Get things done, and I have to realize I can't do everything.
Right.
And
none of us can. We want to, and I'm gonna tell you, I'm one of those people. You know, I'm all over the place. I'm here, there, everywhere, trying to get it all done. But there comes a time where you have to say, okay, I can't do that. I need to get someone else to do that for me, and be willing to pay, right? And be willing to pay.
And there's a lot of platforms that you can get a lot, you know, lower price services. So for example, the person that was like typing it up, she is a freelancer, but she's based in Jamaica. So because of the financial rate, I was able to afford that, and I was paying like little by little. People always say, oh, why are you gonna try to figure out how much that is? It's gonna be expensive. I'm like, I want to figure it out how much it is, so that way I can at least have it exactly in my mind. Okay, budget it. And then, hey, do you offer a payment plan?
Right.
Because now
make it work. Be resourceful.
Make it work.
So wait.
Getting paid in an orderly fashion is better than not getting paid
at all.
So can we work on this payment plan? How much do I have to pay? Equal installments. You can even auto draft them out if that's the kind of commitment you need. But definitely with the
that's what
our payment plan to, hey, you got a payment plan? For that? Perfect. When does it have to be paid? Okay, perfect. I got you. Here's the card number. Take it out. That way I don't have to work. I mean,
exactly.
But the thing is, most of the time I'll have it for the lump sum payment, but sometimes you might need that money for something else. else. So hey, take this payment plan, pay that, and we gonna go from there.
Well, that's frugal advice, and so I want to say thank you both to you ladies, to you young ladies, okay? Because, you know, this is my daughter, and you could be my daughter too, 24 years old, wow. So this is the Millennial Show, and I'm really proud of myself today for having two young women on the show talking about two very different vocations. You, Jade, as a chef, and I would say a hospitality expert, right? And then you, Georgie Ann, as I would say probably an organization queen, okay? As well as a writer extraordinaire, okay? I'm really proud of you girls again. I'm not gonna not say it again. We usually take a break, but this show has been so, really, it has been so amazing and so engaging. You know, I really appreciate both of you being here with me today, but I have a question that I have to ask both of you that I ask every single guest that comes on this show. So I'm gonna ask you after I do my shameless plug. You've been watching the Nourish Spot Hour here on Caribbean Buzz Radio. The Nourish Spot, located at 10705 Guy Arbor Boulevard, is open now. You can walk in till 7 p.m. And if you can't walk in, you can contact DoorDash,
Grubhub,
Uber Eats,
or Postmates,
or Seamless. And with that, I'm going to ask my last question because I'm getting a signal that we're in our last 10 minutes. Wow. So, Georgie Ann, tell us, what do you do to nourish yourself?
Not enough. So that is definitely the answer to that. But I am working on doing more of personal cooking. So that's why I was like listening and I'm like, yes, food. So I am definitely a food lover, and I've been exploring a lot more options, healthier options specifically of how can I get my family to eat healthier as well as like delicious and healthier.
Hide it and stuff. Like literally hide carrots and spinach and stuff. Like if you're making pasta, make your own sauce, use a blender and puree some carrots in there, puree some spinach in there, puree some whatever healthy greens in there. If they don't like zucchini, cool. Put it in the blender with it. No, I'm so serious.
I hear it.
Because the thing is, they'll never know that it's in there, but they'll enjoy it. It's all about the flavor. So hide it in plain sight. They will not know. This way they're getting all their vegetables, everything healthy. You can cut down on your butter, your sodium. I literally try to make my own sauce.
And she does. Literally. She can cook. All right, so let me just say this. Let me let you finish your response to my question, how you nourish yourself. But before you do, I'm her mother, and I know that this is probably going to seem like, of course you would say that, but no, let me tell you, she can cook. So if you look up for a personal chef, I don't know if she's going to fly out, but you would have to pay a lot of money. You would have to pay a lot of money, because I'm telling you, she cooked for us for Thanksgiving, like, I think it was a year or two after she graduated, and I'm not joking, like we were like licking the pots and stuff. It was so good. So with that, I'm gonna ask one more time because we have to wrap up.
Let her finish.
Georgie Ann, finish.
Cooking.
How you cooking? What else?
So definitely cooking, and just like I really love reading, so I read a lot of books. I've been doing ebooks recently.
What's the latest one? What's the latest one? The
latest ebook that I was reading was Are We Ever Meeting in Real Life by Samantha Irby.
Okay.
And it's hilarious.
Okay.
So I like to read books, listen to audiobooks specifically like when I'm working, and specifically ones that are read by the author, because it feels like I'm having a conversation with them. If it's not about an author, it feels a little off, like, why are you talking to me? But for the most part, I like to hear their stories, like, nonfiction. Sometimes I do fiction, but nonfiction, but something I can feel like, okay, we're sitting here having a conversation.
And when's the next conference?
The next conference is actually in November. Still figuring out the date. It's gonna be fully online this time. I've done the GSD Summit 2 times in person. Last year it was online, and this year it's gonna be online again.
Okay, well contact us, because I think we want to be a part of your conference. And so now Jade, okay, I want to say thank you, daughter, for coming on and like taking over my podcast, but it's okay. I enjoyed it. I loved it. How do you nourish yourself, baby girl, before we close?
Are you talking about legal or illegal?
I'm
just playing. Usually I just I don't know, I'm surrounded by a lot of people a lot of the times working in the hospitality industry. It is like a people pleasing job. Mm-hmm. So for me, I usually nourish myself by being alone. And I know people are like, what? You like to be alone? I enjoy it. I want the peace and quiet. I want to be able to listen to my own thoughts. I don't want to have to worry about anybody outside, anybody's energy or none of that. So I like to be alone. Cooking is definitely one thing. Listening to music, traveling. Let's see, I think that's that's it. Self-care.
Yes, self-care is the best care.
A mask, bottle of wine.
Not a glass, a bottle?
I'll pour the glass,
Listen,
and then
ladies and gentlemen.
it's the whole bottle. So,
listen, ladies and gentlemen.
Hey,
thank you very much for joining us this afternoon for the Nourish Spot Hour on Caribbean Buzz Radio. This has been one of the most, this will go down in history. Thank you so much, Jade, my daughter Jade, my baby girl. And thank you very much, my other baby girl, Georgie Ann. Now I got 2 little girls. Thank you very much, everyone, for watching us. Looking forward to seeing you again next week. You've been watching the Nourish Spot Hour. You remember, you are what you put into yourself. Have a good afternoon.
Oh, yeah, let's turn up.